Welcome back to the 30 days of food photography breakdown. We are on the day 6 today. We'll try to break down this food photo into its utmost basics. We'll try to understand where is the light coming from, what are its components, and what is the vibe that it's giving. Right? So let's just quickly dive in. Whenever I open any food photo on Pinterest or on Instagram, I quickly try to understand what is the lighting and where is it coming from, right? So I have told you once more that when you look at the lighting, you have to look at the highlights as well as the shadows, right? So pick any prop or any food ingredient or any subject in the scene and try to look at their highlights or the shadows, right? So if I just zoom in and try to take a close up of this particular plate, I can clearly see that the shadow is somewhere like this. That means the light kind of comes is coming from over here, right? And if you look at the shadows as well, there is no clear cut outline of that light, right? And when you look at this particular cherry as well, when you zoom in on this particular cherry, you can see on the highlight that there is a soft diffused light hitting onto that cherry. That means it shows that the light is coming from this side, but it's not completely from the side, it's kind of from the back side, right? So this is the back, and this is the side. So the light is somewhere along this line, right? So that is the three-quarter backlit lighting situation, and it's soft light over here, where the photographer might have used the soft box or a fine one diffuser, who knows, right? So let's just try to zoom in a little bit once again, try to understand what is the type of softbox or light modifier they have used, right? So if you can see, I can get a rough idea of the shape of that softbox or the diffuser. So it might be an oval fine one diffuser or an octa softbox that is falling onto the left side of the scene. But if you can see, when you look closely onto this cherry, there is another reflector that is kept on the right hand side. If you look at this particular cherry's right side, there is a reflector that is kept on the right side. That means the light that is hitting from the left three-quarter backlit, it's falling onto the reflector and it's bouncing back towards like this, right? So a reflector's use is to reflect back some light and to fill up the shadows that is on the shadow side, right? If our light is on this side, which is the left side, the shadow side is the right side, which is the opposite of the light side, right? So after decoding the lighting, let's just try to understand the beauty of the colors that is going on over here, right? So the major colors that I can see is maroon, which is a part of a red, right? And there's brown because of the cake and the baskets, and there's gray, right? So brown and gray kind of falls into the neutral colors category, and there is just maroon which is popping out, right? There are some sort of yellows, so I might have it, maybe I can just have it as a shade of maroon itself, like maybe just try to think of this beige as an unsaturated red. It might have some sort of red color onto it, but just try to imagine that, right? So I can comfortably see that the red color is popping out over here, and there are some neutral colors which are brown and gray. After decoding the colors as well, we are trying to understand now what are the props and what is the composition overall over here, right? So whenever you look at this kind of food photos, you immediately your eyes get drawn to the center of the frame. Why is it? Because the photographer has used foreground elements, which are the cherries, and out of focus, I don't know what is that particular thing. These are the out of focus foreground elements. There is the middle ground element, which is your subject, and there are background elements which consists of the backdrop as well as the basket over here, right? So after decoding the foreground, background, and middle ground elements, why are my attention going towards the center? That's because there is something known as a triangle in a frame in a frame, or I call it a triangle, right? So our frame is like this, a rectangle, which is the whole photo. But because of the cherries, the placement of cherries, my eyes, the cherry over here, the cherry over here and the cherry over here, there is a triangle that is being formed over here, right? So I can see a cherry here, I can see a cherry here, then I can see a triangle over here, right? So that's the reason why this composition looks good in my eyes. When you talk about the angle in this particular frame, it's a head on angle shot. That means if the cake, I don't know what's that dessert called, but I think it's a dessert, a cake dessert, right? So if this dessert is kept on a table like this, the angle is shot like this, right? So it's a head on angle shot, right? So that's the angle of this shot. And when I talk about vibe, just tell me in the comments, what kind of vibes do you get after looking at this picture? What kind of emotions it's generating when you see this picture? Of course, whenever you look at a food photo, the primary emotion should be hunger. But apart from that, what else emotion are you getting from this picture? For me, it's kind of getting a celebration vibe, but of course there's luxury as well, right? This dessert is very artisanal. It's not something like that is out of coming out of the ordinary, right? So it feels artisanal, it feels luxurious. So there's an emotion of luxury, emotion of hunger for sure, emotion of elegance as well, right? There's I mean, it's not an emotion, but I get the vibe, right? The vibe is kind of a Gen Z term, kind of, it's intangible, it's not defined very well. But in creativity, in art, you need to understand how do you define something with vibe, right? You don't need to define it with proper containers, right? You don't mean to put labels in art, you just need to get a gist of it, right? So that's the vibe that we are going forward with: elegance, hunger, beauty, luxury, and neutral color tone, maybe some neutral color props as well. Ah, yeah, forgot to tell over here. When you look at the props as well, there is a gray ceramic plate, a marble circular platter. There are some sort of interesting flowers. There are some artificial or natural flowers into the basket as well, and there is a golden spoon, right? Golden spoon, basket, some out of focus flowers at the edge of the frame, some flowers over here, and the primary driving factor, which are the cherries, which is the part of the subject itself, right? So guys, there you have it. We try to break down this picture, and I'm trying to make food photography as accessible and as easy and as fun as possible. I hope you liked today's breakdown of this food photo. I'll see you tomorrow for day 7.